us to wear all shirts.
Yes, she challenged us.
What is this at?
Well, they did have a RAGBRAI meeting tonight,
Yeah.
starting at 5:30. So maybe that was still going on, and she wasn't able to make it. But at least everybody out there in the audience sees all these bright colors, and we beat our challenge, I'm sure. I'm glad you all did it. So,
Good.
okay. Doug, would you like to be next?
Just a couple of quick things. I'm still working, I just got an email from Luke today out of Carter's office. We're still working on some property here in town. And then I've been tasked to work with the ATV Trails people. They're wanting to open up some streets in Independence. So I've got some stuff out there to them on what's required to make the ATV street legal, what's required of a driver to be able to do that. And they're to get me all that stuff, and then I told them they need to meet with DOT also, because they've got part of their route is 3rd Avenue Southeast after the bridge, which is the state highway, so they're gonna have to deal with DOT on that one. But once I get this all put together so that Carter can review it, and then it'll probably come in front of the council, so. But the county has approved them to be able to ride them on the gravel roads, and they want routes to get
This is in
through
support of
town.
RAGBRAI.
Pardon?
This is in support of RAGBRAI?
No,
No,
this is just for the ATV
These are ATVs.
organization,
Four-wheelers.
their club organization.
Really?
The county has approved for the four-wheelers and ATVs to be on the gravel roads now. You can be on a paved road, except for a state road as of right now, to get from one gravel road to the next. You can't be traveling down the highway, and you have to be a certain age, certain speed, and so forth. And a lot of the smaller towns around the community, I've seen more than half of the ones in our county have approved for a route to go into town, certain roads to certain places to get to the gas stations and the restaurants and stuff in town, and then out. You can't drive all over the city. There's certain roads they can come in and go out on. So I know it's going to be coming. I figured it would already been here by now, but I'm thinking they're waiting for us to be last. So.
Well, it looked to me like they had all the towns in the county approved except Winthrop.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Winthrop first, and Winthrop flat refused. It says, we're gonna see what the rest of the county does.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got everything approved, but Independence and Winthrop, and they wanted to work on Independence last anyway, because we're a bigger city and probably more rules or regulations or whatever, but,
Yeah, you take
so
the small
anyway,
ones down first.
once I got all that paperwork together, I'll have Carter review it before, and then they can come in front of the council. So, I mean, it's up to you whether you approve it or don't approve it, but at least we'll have all the ducks in a row so you know what's going on.
Yeah, we'll know what route and such that
Right,
they're wanting to
right.
take and stuff. Okay.
And we've looked at it in Jessup and Fairbank already, and those councils have approved it. And
Okay.
but again, those cities are a lot smaller and a lot easier to
Mm-hmm.
navigate in and out of.
That's it?
And
That's it.
did the
Randy,
county approve
do you
that
have
program?
anything?
Just one thing. A couple of weeks ago, as you were very much aware, the city experienced a total power outage due to the storm that came through. Anyway, I had a couple citizens contact us in reference to it and question, why don't we have officers at the traffic signals directing traffic at that time? And of course, so I gave them the response, and I just wanted you to be aware of it so that in case you're contacted by a constituent or whatever. But essentially, we had 3 officers on duty at the time, which we were very fortunate. Myself, Captain Brinkema, Assistant Chief Meyer. At the time of the storm, in fact, I think Dustin was working that night as well. I think he was out in the county.
Mm-hmm.
The time the storm, of course, arrived, our priorities were we were receiving numerous calls of power lines down and sparking throughout the community. And we did find 2 down and arcing. And we had to stand by with those power lines until line power so that we can divert people around them and to keep pedestrians, because they wanted to come up and get very close to them. For whatever reason, don't know why, but they wanted to get just as close as they possibly could to those power lines being down. Fortunately, the majority of the reports were simply cable lines, you know, vast majority, but we did have 2 down that were arcing.
And one was on First Street.
One was right on First Street. So those, of course, are priorities. We're also receiving numerous calls concerning for welfare checks. individuals that are within their homes, and the relatives are trying to contact them. Are you okay? Have you got a tree on your house? They heard about reports of power lines being down. They could not contact, and most of them are loved ones of the elderly, where a lot of them were restricted to their homes. And they were requesting, could you go check on my grandfather? Could you check on my mother? Could you check on my father? So we're responding to those calls as well, checking those individuals and making sure that they were all right, and getting back to their families. We also had 2 persons stranded in water on 8th Avenue Northwest, as well as 10th Avenue Northwest. They drove their cars into probably 2.5 feet of water. The cars stopped and stalled, and they were there. And they
This
called,
is while the
"I don't
power
wanna get out."
outage?
Pardon?
This is while we had no lights? That
Oh,
was
yes.
during that time they
Oh,
did
yes.
that?
And they were requesting assistance because they couldn't get out of the area. They were fearful of getting out of the car at that time because the water was rushing very quickly down the streets. So anyway, so the only vehicle we had to get to was the SUV. Drove the SUV into we were able to get to them with my SUV, get the people out of the vehicles in. We drove them out of the area. We're also removing debris from streets. There was a tree on a house that you know on First Street West.
Oh.
That tree was on a power line. So they were fearful that the power line was going to snap from the house and again start arcing because the power was on with the power line itself. So with all those things going on and multiple other calls coming in all the time, we have to prioritize. What I'd like the public to remember is, in times of situations like that, to be honest with you, traffic is one of our low priorities. Because when you come up to an intersection and there is no traffic signal or whatnot, you have to approach it, you have to slow or stop, and you have to yield to the right, just like at any uncontrolled intersection within our community. At that point in time, it becomes an uncontrolled intersection. And you are to approach that intersection accordingly with safety in mind and yield to any vehicle that's on the right. And that is the way it's to be approached. I wish I had the manpower to direct traffic at all the traffic signals. It's not going to happen, folks. Not going to happen. We just don't have manpower on the streets at any given time to be able to direct the traffic that would be required at that point in time. I don't think we have the manpower in the city as well as the county at that time. Because if I request deputies to come in, even troopers, they're not coming.